Brittany Murphy is an amazing actress who lost her life way too soon. Her death has haunted many, and her loved ones question what really happened. There's no doubt in my mind that her husband Simon is involved in some way, and it looks like Brittany's own family is also questioning Simon's motives. So let's get into it. As you know, Brittany Murphy was a big-time actress. You may recognize her from movies like Clueless, Sin City, and 8 Mile. She also appeared in films like King of the Hill and Something Wicked. Both of those films came out after Brittany Murphy already died. Brittany starred in so many different films in Hollywood. She was incredibly successful and she gave us great content to enjoy. But today I want to talk a little bit more about her tragic death. And you can't talk about her death without talking about her husband, Simon. In 2007, Brittany Murphy married Simon Monjack. He was an English screenwriter, film director, film producer, and a makeup artist. He was born in the UK and he has also passed away, but that was in May 2010. One of the reasons why I want to talk about Brittany's death today is because there's an HBO documentary coming out and I'm so incredibly excited for it because it's going to expose so much about Brittany's passing. This article right here is titled Brittany Murphy's Husband Was a Disturbed Individual. Brittany's death was the result of a toxic combination of anemia and various over-the-counter and prescription medications. She also had pneumonia at the time. But even with all of that, something doesn't add up. She was only 32 when she passed away. So that's incredibly young to pass away from all of these issues and this toxic mix. Buddy Day is an executive producer of this documentary, and they said her death was so bizarre and there are so many twists and turns. Even though a lot of people looked at Simon whenever Brittany passed away, he claims that he had nothing to do with her death.
How are you?
That's a complicated question to
I
answer.
bet.
Simon came to Access Hollywood to set the record straight about the many rumors surrounding Brittany's death and his background.
What do you think is the biggest misconception about you?
Well, I'm often referred to as a criminal without a criminal record, which is quite funny. I woke up the morning after my wife died and there was a thing saying murderer.
Calling you a murderer?
Yeah, that I murdered my wife.
I'm not exactly buying what he's saying in that interview. And the documentary creator, Cynthia Hill, also has some things to say about Simon. Cynthia didn't just say that Simon was shady, oh no. She said he was a disturbed individual who was used to conning people, and Brittany was one of his last victims. There was a pattern of behavior that became very obvious with the more research we did. So obviously they found something out about Simon. In the documentary trailer, a voice says, Simon took her away. He made sure no one could get to her. So they're accusing Simon of isolating Brittany. Someone also says, during a little dip that she was having, he came along and she became prey.
Simon took her away. He made sure no one could get to her.
It does look like Brittany was struggling back in 2007 when Simon came into her life. She was struggling with her body image and just keeping up in Hollywood, so she wasn't doing well, and then this toxic guy came into her life. At one point in the documentary, Brittany's former makeup artist, Trista Jordan, appears, and she has some things to say about Brittany's last days, because she actually worked with Brittany on the set of Something Wicked, which was actually Brittany's last movie, which I believe came out in 2014, which is like a long time after she died. I mean, she died in 2009. So it's kind of weird to think that the movie came out after the fact. But in the documentary, Trista said that Brittany's eyes were so sunken. She just seemed so sad. She wasn't herself. She was in so much pain. She had Bambi legs and couldn't stand up. Even though Something Wicked was Brittany's last film, it wasn't supposed to be. She was actually supposed to be in a film called No Caller. Actually, in November 2009, so about a month before she passed away, she traveled to Puerto Rico to film this movie, and she brought along her husband and her mother, Sharon. Apparently, Brittany Murphy was fired the first day of shooting, and that's because her husband Simon was incredibly drunk on the set. But because they traveled all the way to Puerto Rico, they decided to stay for a couple more days and make a vacation out of it. But unfortunately, Simon and Sharon both fell really ill while staying on the island. It's reported that Brittany pretty much became their caretaker because they were both sick, and Brittany wasn't doing that well herself. And at one point, she had to give her husband CPR because he was on the flight and he had like a minor heart attack situation. So they all went back home, which Brittany was not a fan of her home. She did not like it, which we'll talk a little bit about that towards the end of this video. But on the morning of December 20th, her husband Simon called emergency services because he found Brittany collapsed in their bathroom and she wouldn't wake up. After emergency services got there and they were able to resuscitate Brittany, they took her to the hospital where she died at 10:04 a.m. They claimed that she was suffering from cardiac arrest, and the coroner revealed that Brittany died of natural causes. Obviously, a 32-year-old woman like this does not just randomly die of natural causes. There were a whole bunch of different drugs found in Brittany's body. As you guys can see, the list goes on, and that's a lot of different drugs to mix. And actually, this article notes that there could have been psychological effects because of all of these medications. I do find it interesting that the coroner says that Brittany's death was accidental but preventable, which doesn't sound like a natural cause to me. But she had supposedly been sick for at least 2 weeks. If they had taken her to a doctor or a hospital before those 2 weeks passed on, then she could have been saved.
There were more unanswered questions after the autopsy came out than there were answered questions.
So obviously something doesn't feel right about this autopsy. Why did Brittany have all these substances in her system? And when she did die, this is what her husband Simon had to say. He said, although Brittany's autopsy report was incredibly shocking and sad to the family, to me, Sharon and I both shed tears. We are vindicated that we always said that Brittany never did any kind of illegal substances. So he's trying to reassure the public that she didn't do any illegal drugs and it was just a bad mix of medications, which is a good cop-out for him. But Brittany's father, Angelo, believes that there was foul play involved in Brittany's death. He does not accept the fact that she just mixed these medications. He believes that someone poisoned her.
Murphy's career. Today, new shocking allegations coming from her father, who says she was poisoned.
I'm honestly glad that Brittany's father is stepping forward and speaking out about her passing because, if someone did take her life, they need to be held accountable.
Mr. Bartolotti, why do you believe that? Why do you think that she was poisoned?
Well, it's very suspicious, and I read the reports on the toxicology reports, and everything sounds very, very, very more or less suspicious. And I feel she was poisoned. There's no question about that. And I feel she was murdered.
Brittany's father claims that the lab reports indicate that his daughter's hair contained 10 heavy metals administered by a third party with possible criminal intent. It looks like that's her father's current theory, so I'm not entirely sure what authorities think, but it's interesting that she had all of these metals in her system because that, again, doesn't really add up and probably doesn't line up with her medications.
Julia, was there something specific in those reports that he's talking about that leads you to believe that it was poison and not natural causes?
Yes, from the very beginning, AJ always believed that there was something very odd about Brittany's passing, and then reviewing autopsy reports, we could see that there were multiple symptoms that would usually go with poisoning, and then the test results confirmed that, where the lab found 10 heavy metals in very high quantities. So we do believe that it was poisoning, and we would like to have it properly investigated since the coroner never tested for poisons originally.
Brittany's father, Angelo, has felt very strongly about her death, and he does not want to give up on his daughter. In January 2002, a few years after Brittany's passing, he actually sued the LA County Department of Coroner over its findings and requested to have samples from his daughter's remains tested by an independent lab for other toxins or heavy metals. The judge ended up dismissing the case, but Brittany's father went on to hire an independent lab to test some of Brittany's hair. He's also been insisting that chronic arsenic poisoning could have been mistaken for anemia. In 2013, her father claimed that the test result had come back showing traces of heavy metals, like we discussed. One of those metals include barium. Barium? I believe it's barium, which is consistent with rat poisoning. So it looks like Brittany could have been poisoned, and that's one of the metals suggesting so. Her father claims it's incredibly suspicious, and he feels that she was poisoned. There is no question about it. As I mentioned earlier, Brittany's family and friends are not a fan of Simon, and they believe that he's a sketchy dude. He pretty much showed up when Brittany was incredibly depressed, and they feel like he took advantage of her.
During a little dip she was having, he came along. And I think that's where her judgment was muddled and she became prey.
When Simon asked Brittany to get married, it all happened so quickly. They were in a rather short relationship, so he was trying to hurry to the altar. Some people believe that Simon married Brittany so quickly because his visa was expiring in February 2007, he was having a bunch of financial issues, and he already had a ton of kids, so he needed to secure that relationship with Brittany Murphy. But of course, he denies all of that. And it seems like once Brittany and Simon were married, he isolated her from her family and friends, and she was just locked up in that house.
We all were scared and freaked out. Like, who was this guy?
Once they got married, they were holed up in that house 24/7.
So you guys may be wondering what happened to Brittany's fortune when she passed away, because if Simon was going to be motivated by something, it might as well be money. And Brittany had a lot of it. She was worth $10 million when she passed away. Well, thankfully, Simon wasn't even named in Brittany's will, so he gets none of that, and her mother has the entire estate to herself. But what Simon did, something so sketchy that Simon did, was that he went and he drained all of Brittany. Well, he didn't drain it fully. He took 80% of Brittany's money out of all of her accounts. He kept it for himself, and her mother Sharon got whatever was left. So Sharon did in fact inherit Brittany's estate, but a lot of the money was missing. And this one person claims that they saw money being pulled out of Brittany's accounts, hundreds of thousands, by Simon. Brittany's mother did end up selling her home, so she was able to get some money that way, but it's sick that so many people are so interested in the money after she dies, but of course we don't want Simon to get away with all of that. And this new documentary coming out really goes hard on Simon. They interview a lot of people close to him and people who were once close to him, including this woman named Elizabeth, who was someone that he was engaged to before Brittany. So Elizabeth reveals that she and Simon got engaged, and shortly after she became pregnant. He actually wanted her to come to the United States, so when she was 4 months pregnant, he paid for her plane ticket to New York, and he said he would meet her out there. She got a little studio in New York, and when she went to call him, he answered, and she said, "Simon, I made it to..." And then the phone hung up because he just hung up and ignored her, and he just left her pregnant and abandoned. So obviously that's a huge red flag right there, and I'm sure Brittany Murphy wasn't aware of this baggage that he had.
Simon had all these secrets.
He actually said people in the government were watching them.
It also seems like we can't trust anything that Simon said because he was a huge compulsive liar. He lied to a ton of people around him. Listen to this snippet from the trailer.
Simon said that he was the largest collector of Vermeer, dated Elle Macpherson and Madonna. He said that he had been dying from terminal brain cancer and that he had bought an experimental treatment derived from the fins of sharks. Every single word out of his mouth was a lie.
But as you guys know, at the end of the day, Simon actually passed away himself. Several months after Brittany's passing, Simon also passed away himself. And it was very, very similar to Brittany's death. He had anemia and acute pneumonia, which ultimately added more mystery to Brittany's passing. So why are both of these people dying of the same thing? It took them some time to figure out why he passed away, but a final report issued in August 2010 said that he passed away because of community acquired acute bronchopneumonia. And when it comes to Simon's family, they want to defend his legacy as well. And it actually looks like for some reason Brittany's father is working with Simon's mother, and they're trying to figure out what really happened, and they want both of the bodies brought up so they could do some testing on them.
There hasn't been any testing done yet, but we are in touch with Simon's mother, Linda, and she very much wants to have his remains tested as well. It is our belief that Simon was also poisoned by the same means because both Simon and Brittany exhibited identical symptoms.
Honestly, I believe they should bring them both back up and test them and just try to figure out what exactly happened here, because again, none of it's adding up. And even though Simon seems super sketchy, he also passed away of a similar thing. So what if he, I don't know, poisoned himself because he knew that other people were figuring out what happened? I have no idea, but part of me also thinks the house could have had something to do with it, because Brittany hated that house on Rising Glen Road. Brittany would rather go and stay at the Beverly Hills Hotel than stay in her big mansion. And I actually have a full video about Brittany Murphy's home, because Britney Spears once lived in it, and Britney Spears claims that the house was haunted. So then Brittany Murphy moves in and she passes away. So could the house have something to do with it? We really don't know, but we really did explore it in that video, so definitely go and check that out. And I'm going to be keeping you guys up to date on Brittany content. I was going to go and make a whole video about her life story, but then I saw the documentary was coming, so I was like, you know what, I'm going to wait until that happens, because I feel like we're going to learn so much more after. But if you guys have any other video ideas for me, here is my email below. Let's go ahead and open this P.O. Box package item. It looks like it's from someone named Sweet Decorations 11. So let's go ahead and check this out. Thank you for sending me this. Okay, so it looks like there's a little box right here. I don't know what it is, and there is a note. Sloan, I just wanted to say thanks for being amazing. Your YouTube channel is awesome, and I fully enjoy supporting someone who isn't afraid to talk about real issues in the world. Keep being you because I love it. XO Sweet D. And it looks like it's from Sweet Decorations. I don't know if I'm reading this wrong, but I'll list everything below. Definitely go check them out, and thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Let's go ahead and see what they sent me. It looks like this is a little ribbon moment on the box, which we're all about the packaging here. Got a good sticker too, and oh my gosh, I'm scared. What's gonna be in here? Ooh, okay. Oh no, okay. What is this? Oh my gosh, look at it. It's like a little Beantown bunnies. Oh my gosh, maybe these are little bean bunnies. Oh my gosh, these are little bean bunnies. It's so cute. Look at it. It's got a tooth and one eye bigger than the other one. It's a cute little keychain. It's so bougie. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I really love it. Definitely go and check out their shop below. This is so cute. It's going right on my keys. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in a new video soon. Bye, guys.